Hi, this is Lori Rayfelt, Major Lori Rayfelt, with God Aliens and a Cup of Coffee. And today our guest it's Maria Martinez, and I'd like to share some information about her. Um, well, like I said, welcome to God Aliens and a Cup of Coffee. Today's guest is the extraordinary Maria Martinez, a spiritual guide and healer with an incredible journey. Coming from a lineage of shamans, Maria began her path at a young age, mentored by archangels, ascended masters, and divine beings like Jesus, Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene, and much more. Her spiritual exploration has taken her across dimensions and realms where she's uncovered ancient wisdom, and she's definitely on her soul's mission. Maria's Maria channels divine energy to help others heal and transform. She clears past traumas, activates human potential, and reconnects people with their true selves, blending spiritual insight with profound healing practices. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and join us as we dive into Maria's fascinating experiences, her divine connection, and her powerful work in the world. I want to just happily welcome you, Maria, to God Aliens and a Cup of Coffee.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my
Yeah,
pleasure. Lovely
there's
conversation.
there's so much to talk about. I actually have a shared connection too with um, Mother Mary.
Mm.
Um, not not really never did have a connection with Jesus. I mean, depending on how you look at things, but it was when I was in third grade. I actually saw a vision of Mary at my
Beautiful.
I went to a Catholic school, and she
Mhm.
was there, and then she disappeared. It was kind of but she was up on this beautiful pedestal, and
Mm.
so I went and told my mom, and my mom actually called my grandma,
Mhm.
who was living in Ireland. So, back then, transatlantic calls were a big deal. But
Mhm.
feel free and tell me how your journey began.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it began very early on. I remember 4 or 5 years old, connecting with my angels, going into the astral plane and doing missions with them, going into multi realms, high and low dimensions to retrieve soul fragments and restore them to the individual. So my work, I mean, there's so much that we did, but that really stands out. Also journeying to learn different things, um, healing different aspects of the individual, and connecting also with other beings of light to do the work. So it was very beautiful. I mean, now I can say that. Back then I wasn't really sure what was going on, but a part of me just went with it because I don't remember really questioning. I just thought it was normal,
Mhm.
because I could see them in my outer eye as well, my inner and outer eye, and all hours of the day. I could hear them. I had conversations with them, so it was very natural for me to be in their presence without me wondering or saying this is something different. And it was a really powerful experience because I feel like there was a knowing that I had coming into this world of my connection with them and the work that I did in previous lifetimes. So it felt familiar. It felt very familiar. There was a sense of knowing, there was a sense of trust. And I always remember, this always stands out because to this day, I remember this. And even now, I can feel their presence before I see them, or when I'm faced with something that is new or that feels challenging. I feel their presence and then they're here. So
Mhm.
I had a sense that they were always there for me. And whether it was in the dream state, in the astral plane, or in a real life situation, that they were always there for me, guiding, protecting, showing me the way, giving me information, helping me access higher wisdom. And then I remember telling my mom about the different experiences that I was having, and especially when they were happening during the day. Like I would see people walking down my hallway, and I would describe to her they're wearing this kind of clothing, and I was not from our time. or the times where Jesus came into my room, uh, or Mother Mary. I remember being sick and her coming in and just sitting with me and feeling her hand on me, or even my grandfather when he passed on, or other beings that felt like my mentors. So having these conversations with her, it's when I realized not everybody can do this, or this doesn't happen to everybody. This is a little bit different, even though for me it feels normal. And she asked me to keep it quiet for a while. She said, "You don't have a trainer, you don't have a mentor yet. Let's just keep it quiet." What she was afraid of is that people would come and ask for my help and I wouldn't know what to do. And she didn't know how to help me. So for a time being, I think I did kind of kept it quiet, but not too quiet because we met a friend, or eventually we were introduced to somebody who became a friend of the family, and she was a shaman. And that was about it when I was 8 years old. And I remember coming over to her house, and there was a group of people all dressed in white, and she would channel Mother Mary. So she channeled Mother Mary, she would channel other beings of light, and there were messages for the people that were there or for the people that came to receive healing. And then I remember either before or after, she would do a ceremony specifically for myself or my siblings or just myself. And what I found out later is that those were initiations. Those were she was activating something within me that helped me align with my path or continue my path. And especially in the times where I wasn't aware, I wasn't conscious of what was happening. So in a way, she was giving me tools. She was helping me awaken that part of myself that I already knew, the ancient part of me that I already knew what my purpose was here. And that continued through um, virtually college. In college, I remember the first year I was there, I had a dorm by myself and being awakened at all hours of the night by beings wanting to talk to me, asking things of me, or just wanting to torment me. And portals opening up constantly. And so I came home one weekend and I told my mom, this is really getting out of control. I'm not able to sleep. I'm not really functioning, and my school is starting to suffer. So I need to get a hold of this. So we went to her and she became my first mentor. So I was about 18, 19 when she became my first mentor. And she helped me hone my skills. She helped me turn it off, turn it on. She helped me close up the portals, dimensions, helped me come back to, the present time, and gave me some tools to work with the beings that were disruptive. So that was the beginning of my path. Though I have to say that I wasn't always on my path, because after college I went into corporate America, and I didn't completely disconnect, and I wouldn't say disconnected. I would say I was not in the practice of who I was, and that I felt that created there was a lot of success, and I felt like that was the masculine part of me really thriving, but the feminine part of me was in a way suffering because I started experiencing different things with my body. My relationships started to suffer, and eventually, that led to my divorce, and my health not being so good, my money not being able to flow in the way I wanted it to flow. So I made a decision later after I saw what was happening that I was going to change everything, that I was going to come back to who I was. And the minute I decided that, the minute I decided this is who I am in the world and this is what I'm here for, everything started to change. My money started flowing, my health started. I felt like my light became more vibrant. I felt like I was connecting to a greater level of joy. And I really wanted that because I had little ones. They were 1 and 2 and 2.5. So I really felt like I wanted to be in that place of joy. I wanted that for myself and I wanted that for them. And I definitely want to create another life, another experience for them. And I wanted to do the healing necessary for them to experience a different or have a new possibility and not have to experience what I was bringing in or what their dad or what my parents, our ancestors were bringing in. So I dedicate myself to healing the contracts, my ancestral lineage, my karma, to grow, being of service to others and contribution, especially in those times where I felt like times were very difficult. I went to serve. Especially in those times where I felt like I didn't have the answer, I went to serve. And especially in those times where I felt so overwhelming that I didn't have the solution, I served. And you know, I saw being provided for. I saw and I felt the support and I saw the doors opening. So, and then I decided, wow, this is wonderful. What if I lean more into this? what if I start working on other areas of my life? And what if I show this to other people? And that's how my business grew into wealth, health, into self-actualization, human potential, and living the life that you love.
That's incredible. I feel like I have a kinship with you. You know, I'm one of those people. I don't believe things happen for the heck of it.
Mm,
It's like synchronicity is always in action, and you know,
beautiful.
our our lines are supposed to cross and whatnot.
I
And
love that.
you know, oops.
Agree.
Yeah, and it's just really fascinating to me that I think you were born into you were, and I'm sorry, it may sound kind of military, but when you were born, you know, you went through the tunnel, and of course, you know, you came out of your mom, so that's part of the tunnel, and you had a mission. You had you probably had the you were probably briefed on what you were going to be doing on Earth, and I think my guess is from what you were saying is that it sounds like when you were you were going through like training when you were like a little one,
Mhm,
because you know, the little ones seem to be magnets to, um, you know, what's out there in the universe. They're so closely connected, um, to it, and malleable to be able to,
mhm,
you know, really learn and take it all in like a sponge and whatnot. And it sounded like you had a strong intuition, and you knew in your gut that there were things you had to do. Um, but on the other hand, the forces of life with capitalism and all this other stuff, sometimes we go directly for it, and we
mhm,
realize that we really need to, um, go through a different door, like go through kindness, go
mhm,
through helping others. You know,
mhm,
I mean, it's just incredible that when you're doing something from a different motivation, like
mhm,
love,
mhm,
you know, and I do think love is a universal, way of going through dimensions that
mhm.
you you're on a really good road. You, you could probably
Yeah, absolutely.
teach me a lot. Could you explain what exactly is a shaman?
Hmm. Well, there's the traditional sense of the shaman, right? What people know of somebody who, um, in a tradition, has received rights from a lineage, wisdom that they're sharing with others. They're holders of knowledge that they're sharing with others, holders of practices that they're sharing with others, that they're helping others unlock or connect to.
Mm-hmm,
Um, to the divine, and really that's what we're coming back home to the divine, and their guides and way showers,
mm-hmm,
that are holders of that knowledge, or that are holders of that wisdom, or that connected to that wisdom, that have been entrusted to be that light, or that beacon of light, or that teacher, to others. So that is my definition of a shaman. And my grandfather was a shaman, but he was very loving. It's not your typical shaman, because he was amazing. We have different stories of him being a source for others, always being there for people, and then of course his very strong faith and his practices. Um, so that's what, that is what I see myself as, and what my definition is that, a way shower, holding light, helping others connect to the divine within them, to that ancient wisdom that's available to all of us, but really has always been there, to connect to our divine healing, or our abilities that are innate to us, our ability to heal, our ability to create, our ability to manifest, and to embody our divine power, and to be in creation with others, and to do good in the world, and to awaken humanity to its highest possibility. And in the process is the healing that happens.
wow. Do you have any examples or stories to show how you've used it to, help people or situations.
Yeah, so I have that teaching, right? That's innate, and I can also do other things. So I came in again awake. So my clairvoyance, my clairaudience, all of those have been awakened. So for me, it's being source, right? Uh, when you are source, then you can connect to the ancient wisdom that is there and actually channel what is needed for somebody. So as an example of a healing, and of course this happens all the time in our sessions, uh, where divine beings come in and they work with the individual that I'm working with. So either the archangels will come in, the galactic beings will come in, or some of the goddesses will come in and work with somebody. So I'll give a couple specific examples. Um, I was working with a gentleman who just had a lot of discomfort. He actually didn't really know what the real issue was, but a lot of health issues. His body felt like it was just inflamed, and just a lot of distension in his stomach, and a lot of pressure and GI issues, which was also causing a lot of stress and a lot of sleep disorders, and which all of that was impacting his career and his money situation and his relationship. Uh, so when we worked together, I noticed that there were entities in his body. So there were entities in his body. There were some belief systems that needed to be reprogrammed or reset, and a lot of emotions, repressed emotions from his childhood. So when we worked on the inner child, we released the emotions or healed the emotions from the inner child, and so from early lives, his early time here. And when we worked on the entities, we worked on the ancestral lineage, we worked on the karma, we worked on his soul contract. So we went in different directions. So we opened up whatever dimension we needed to open, whatever timeline we needed to open, to see where the source of this was coming from. And some of it was coming from other places, but some of it was coming from here. Some of these entities were what was created out of
Mhm.
what he was feeling about his life. So being depressed, being sad, running in the vibration of regret, resentment, sadness, grief, depression, self-loathing. So some of those entities were his own entities. So we integrated what we needed to integrate. So we brought light and healing to his heart, his mental and emotional body. We also brought healing to his spiritual body, which was the attachments that were beyond his timeline. And we started to ignite his soul by healing the physical body and raising the vibration of his physical body, which
Mhm.
allowed him to actually, after he was complete, feel like he had lost 15 pounds and feel more limber and more flexible in his body, and a lightness and a sense of joy. So when I work with somebody, I work at that multidimensional level. So everything that I know virtually comes into that place. Everything that I am from this lifetime and other time lifetimes comes into my sessions, and of course my connection with divine beings and the galactic beings also comes in as we work with him. And with him, and this happens with many of my clients, we also toned his frequency using light language. So as
Mhm.
we toned his frequency, that accelerated his sense of self, all the frequencies that we're bringing in, his self-worth, his self-trust, his self-love, and his confidence, and realizing that he is the creator of his life, that he can choose to be happy every day, that he can choose that this is that he doesn't have to settle for what he has, and that he can live in a healthy body. So now sending different directives to his body to bring the body online, thereby awakening the healing protocols. So that's just an example of a session.
Oh, that's a excellent example. Thank you for that. I was wondering, with the I'm trying to think. You mentioned about the vibration, and it actually reminded me, my grandmother was very religious. She actually, after when my mom was only 4 years old, she decided to become a nun. And but to make a long story short, um, when I was about 8, 9 years old, she took us to Lourdes in France, and they would sing in the evening. They would have a daily vigil every evening. People would light candles, and I believe it still goes on. And they would all sing. It's like thousands of people singing Ave Maria, and
Mm.
you could almost hear that vibration as if it's opening up something. It's just like opening up. It was just such a phenomenal feeling to feel that vibrate, to literally feel that vibration and know that it's opening up. I, I believe it's a portal,
Mhm.
just opening up something that's, going to shine or rain down on us love. It was just,
Mhm. Beautiful.
it felt a connection with each and every person there. And I'll just never forget it. And then not long ago, I like to metal detect sometimes. So I was out near this area and I was metal detecting, and I found a silver medal. And it was kind of interesting because I was in the Bible Belt down in Roanoke, Virginia at the time.
Mhm.
And it turned out the medal I found was actually a Catholic medal. And it was like, wow, that's interesting. And so I took it, and I didn't recognize the symbol on it. So I just kind of stuck it in the middle drawer of my car.
Mhm.
And then a couple of months later, my sister posted on Facebook that she was asking for prayers. She
Mhm.
said God had told her to put prayers out there I need prayers because my son had an overdose, and I just need to, and she explained everything. It was like, here she's a private person, yet she's explaining all this to the world. And she was pretty much saying, I need a miracle.
Mhm.
And then I went on to the website for Lourdes, France, and sure enough, that symbol that I found, that medal that I found, was a symbol of miracles.
Beautiful.
And
Powerful.
I thought, oh my gosh, I have got to get this medal in the mail to my sister. And it was a miracle that my nephew, he's alive. He is doing really, really well. I mean, they were at one point talking about um, donating his body.
Mhm.
And I mean, it was that serious.
Mhm.
But I just find it so powerful when you start looking at this, the vibrations.
Mhm.
So it's, you know,
Beautiful. That's a beautiful story. Yeah.
uh,
It's so powerful. It's so powerful when you can move yourself from one vibration to another vibration, or when you can bring in the frequency and hold it.
mhm.
Love, when you can hold the frequency of love. It's so beautiful because everybody else can feel it when you're holding the vibration of love or loving kindness or compassion or gratitude. They can feel the vibration of abundance. They can see, the vibration of abundance. And that inspires others around us. So it's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. And by holding higher vibrations, we create a space of possibility. So the possibility for miracles, the possibility to heal, possibility to manifest what we desire and want in the world.
Yeah, that's that manifestation is so um I'm not really sure how it comes out, but it does,
Mhm.
especially if you're connected. You know, but I know there are many times that um I would go into a place and it would feel like I got to get out of here. It's like the vibration was there was something wrong, with
Mhm.
this place. Like this is gonna suck everything out of me. And um, and unfortunately it seems to be, you know, happen a lot easier than the other, feeling I mean, I have gone into places where I felt like I feel like I'm home. I feel
Mm,
warm. I feel there's 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 nothing angry about this place.
mhm.
And but so I kind of wonder if you have those types of experiences too.
Yeah, absolutely. I can feel the vibration. I can so I remember going to taking my kids to the museums and like maybe 20 minutes into it, not only do I feel the heaviness and the weight of it, but my kids, especially my oldest daughter, she's like, "Mommy, I have a headache," and she's now 12, so she was probably 10 at that
Mhm.
time. She's like, "I have a headache. I don't feel well. I feel a little bit nauseous," and I said, "Okay, let's go outside." So we go outside, and I show them how to release what they took on. So sometimes what happens when we go into environments, if there's something there, it gets close to us and we feel it, we sense it. Or if we're very sensitive, whatever is there, it's amplified for us. And my kids are very sensitive. So whatever is in the environment for them is almost like 10 times as much. Um, and and then sometimes there's a message for us, right? Somebody's trying to reach out through whether it's a portal that is in that space or an
Mhm.
object, or what is there, or somebody actually there in that state that needs help. So we went outside and I just showed them how to do a couple of things to clear their energy and to ground themselves back, to bring in their spirit and to fully own their presence. And then I kind of looked around and I noticed a couple objects that had a lot of sort of I call it dense energy, just not to go into the full description, but it was like dense energy, very heavy energy. And then of course I noticed a couple people that were there that were running a lot of depression and even suicidal thoughts. So it just brought some healing into the space as as the divine will allow. And then we went back in and then we were able to enjoy the rest of the tour of the museum. And that happened a couple of times going to these places that hold some things that are very old. Um,
Mhm.
like I remember going to a train station that it was more like a museum. They wasn't running anymore. They only had sort of like, let me show you what the train feels like. And it was the same thing. But there I could feel entities and I could feel spirits that were still lingering about. So I did a little bit of work there, help the ones that needed to move on, and then clear the space of the entities that were there. And especially in the places where there's a lot of people that are coming through, sort of like stations. I call them stations because they're like places where there's a lot of people coming in and out. And people come sometimes and bring their stuff, and then either you can feel it while you're there, or sometimes it's left there. Um, when we are running a vibration that is similar to somebody else, we can either get plugged into it, or can get plugged into us. If we're running depression or
Mhm.
anger or sadness or grief or some of these lower emotions, they resonate with other
Mhm.
people or with entities and they can get attached or we can get attached. And that's when we feel this heaviness. So we want to make sure that our energy is always clean by clearing aura, by deciding, I'm going to make it a joyful day. So we in your intention of choosing joy, we raise our vibration to a higher level than we normally are, and then we can exist. So I get this a lot from my clients, not from all of them, but from certain clients. And I always, my suggestion is, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could exist anywhere and not feel it to the point where you're not feeling good in your body or you're feeling healthy, that you can feel it and then know what to do with it and decide whether you want to stay there or not, or whether it's a place that you want to be in or not, but without feeling like it's taking you out or it's taking you down. So I work on that with healthy boundaries, putting in their auric field, raising their vibration, their consciousness. It's really raising your state of consciousness, moving into a higher state of consciousness and embodying your power, being more present, connecting to your spirit, and turning on the brilliance of your light. And then just owning that part of yourself and being comfortable who you are. And that process, those tools really help people thrive in their environment, especially in their careers and in other difficult situations like hospitals where they see a lot of trauma, where they see a lot of illness or sickness, or in
Yeah.
other situations like hospice. So it really supports them in the environments where they really need to have a high vibration.
Wow. Have you
Mm.
um I know there have been times, and I'm just kind of relating to what you're saying. Have you ever gone into like I used to work in insurance. I would sell health insurance and life insurance and whatnot. And this woman, um I was in a building. It was kind of an institutional kind of a building with where people that didn't have that much money lived. And this woman comes running out the hallway because they said, "Oh, there's an insurance person here in the building." And so she ran to me and she goes, "My mother needs insurance." So I said, "Okay." So I walked over to the building, into her room, and her the room itself, the living room, was kind of cold. But then when I walked into her room where she was laying down in the bed, and all of a sudden it's like this warmth just hit me. And it was like this big blanket was just surrounding me, and the light was it was just really soft. And all of a sudden it was like I felt these like three or four really, really tall, about 7 foot tall angels in the
Mhm.
room. And I realized that, Lori, you're not here to sell any insurance, that, you know. So I sat down next to her and I held her hand, and I'm doing everything that I don't normally do. I don't normally just, I'm not that comfortable to come over and just start holding your hand and whatnot. But I held her hand and I said to her, I said, "Is this room crowded?" And she had this serene look on her face as if to say, "Yeah, yeah." I said, do you see those, those four really gigantic angels?" And she just, "Yeah, I do." And we just held our hand, and I kind of felt as if holding her hand, the energy through me was going through her and vice and back to me. And I knew that what was happening is that they were going to guide her to the next realm.
Mhm.
And but I didn't have any book knowledge about this or whatnot. I just, you know, just knew what was going on. It was kind of like once I was in it, I was in this flow. I just wasn't. It was like I had to complete the full circle before I could even leave. And right before I left, I kissed her on top of the head. You know, it was just felt love. And then she smiled and I left the room. About a week later, I went back and she was gone. She died about 2 days after I
Mhm.
left. And but I wanted to see if the room still felt the same, that warmth that I felt.
Mhm.
No, it didn't. It felt like the rest of the apartment. It was just very cold, institutional like. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, if you see people that have, these types of gifts that they don't know what to do with, um, how do you, what do you recommend to them, or how do you mentor?
Yeah. So it's something similar to what you described, somebody that helps others pass on. Uh, like for you, you already have a sense of knowing. A lot of times they have a sense of knowing or they have some inclination. Something's been happening that they
Mhm.
know that this is part of their mission. So what we do is we help them, first of all, accept, right, that this is, because it's hard for somebody to say, to accept, I'm supposed to see them kind of die in front of me so they can move on. So the first thing that we do is helping them accept their mission. And there's different processes like going back up before they decided to come in here, have them talk to their higher version of themselves and see for them what they agree to, and then decide again to come back and incarnate here and integrate all of that knowledge here. And then once they have all of that awareness that this is what I chose to do, then we work on the how. But a lot of times the how, it's more on working on the trust, trusting that they'll know what to do. Like for instance, you didn't know, but you did know, right? And you trusted and you felt your guidance and you followed that guidance. So finding that level of trust, finding that alignment with the divine, and knowing that you will always have the answer. And so some of that requires doing work with your inner child, your self-worth, your value, and your self-forgiveness and self-love. So we do that work to help them integrate to the power that they are and the mission, and accepting that mission that they're here to do. And then after that is being compassionate. It's like, how do you be compassionate? How do you become loving kindness for somebody that is ready to move on? And then holding that space for also the loved ones, right? In the words of wisdom to the loved ones. Um, so that's that part. And then the other part is for them not to use their own energy or their own vitality to do the work. Because a lot of times we pour ourselves into others, and especially those that are suffering, and there is nothing left for us. So having the tools to run source energy and do what they need to do, hold on to their own vitality so that they can be what they need to be for everybody else, and also feel like they're being that for themselves and their loved ones. So there's a balance that we create, a balance of, so it's a deeper connection with source, becoming the channel, being able to bring in that higher frequency, and embody those deeper compassions of love, compassion, loving kindness, and also, again, to be able to find that balance between giving and what they're giving, and then for themselves, and then embodying, embracing their power as that being of light, that is the liaison or the guide to the next level. And the other part that we work on, because for a lot of people, they feel like death is the end. So understanding that death is not the end. Death is just the complete of this chapter, and then moving on to the next chapter of their book of life, or their book of their many incarnations. So understanding that, being in that awareness that this person that they're working with is not, death is the beginning of something new. And then holding that space of, because sometimes the people that are crossing over are afraid, they're afraid to die. So holding that space, being able to communicate that, and if they can channel the guides or the angels, or if they can hold the space for angels, bringing in the angels or whoever the guides are going to be to help that individual cross over.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. I totally agree with you with the whole balance with the fact that and teaching people how to balance it and how not to, especially if you're highly empathetic
Mm-hmm.
and not, sometimes empathy people tend to even personalize it even more, and then the person is not useful for being, an empath. They become more of a uh, I guess they get depressed or whatever because they're carrying other people's
Mm-hmm.
pain, other people's sorrow and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And so you got to be healthy. You got to figure out, like you said, draw the boundaries. Like, nope, nope. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my sister, when she talks about it, she usually talks about Satan, and she's like, Step on his face." But it's she was saying, and I believe it too, that there is this war going on. There's a war that's in the atmosphere that's going on, and good will prevail for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that a lot of what we're seeing today in the news, it's like what you have to offer people is so much, to be able to help them navigate through all the pressures of just living, paying rent, paying mortgage, paying electric bill, paying everything that keeps going up, and managing those kinds of stresses,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that they can get that sense of peace and love. And I
Yeah.
I also believe that um if they do it right with love and compassion, often, that whole thing about what you put out there in the universe tends to come back to you. I don't know
Mhm.
what, tenfold, or is it sevenfold? I don't know.
I choose tenfold or more. But
Yeah,
sometimes say tenfold or more.
yeah.
Yeah, to your point about the struggles, the struggles come from the separation that, from the divine, who we truly are. We
Mhm.
came in and some of us stayed awake, or some of us woke up at some point in our life and we're coming back to who we truly are. We are stepping into and embodying who we truly are. But that separation is where the struggle is what creates the struggle. It's what keeps us from having it all, is what keeps us from living our life. So when we can awaken to, I don't need to suffer, I don't need to struggle, I don't need to just get by, I don't need to experience pain in my life. I choose to know that I'm healthy, wealthy, choose that I am love, that I'm love for myself and love for others, and
Mhm.
then move into the practice of being. So then we start moving into a higher state of consciousness, which raises our vibration, which then aligns us back to our truth. And it is a practice. And sometimes if we do the practice about the embodiment, it takes us a little longer to get there. Um, but it's possible for everybody to awaken to, I can have it all. I can have joy and happiness and fulfillment. I can live a fulfilled life. Um, you mentioned the war, good and evil or darkness. Well, I feel like that, and when I look into it and when I tune into it, from that separation, we became vulnerable, or sort of allowed because we separated from our true power. So then all these other things that interfere now have power. So when we come back to who we are, then we're reclaiming our power, we're taking our power back, we're diminishing the attention that we gave other things that gave them power and made them bigger than us, the fear, the doubt, the insecurity. And as we reclaim our sense of self, as we reclaim our truth, as we reclaim the divine within ourselves, we're leaning back into that full alignment of who we are and awakening more of that within ourselves. And that awakening is potential. That awakening is possibility. That awakening opens up many different doors because, again, it's like we're raising our vibration. We just went up to the new timeline of more, and better. Then we do that again and we do that again. So we keep collapsing the doors of suffering and not enough. So we keep completing that part of our lives and keep opening ourselves to more and more. And when we do that, that's when we move into the manifestation, right? We choose something, we say, yes, I deserve this. Yes, this is for me. And then we move into the embodiment of I am wealth, I am abundance, I am prosperity, I am love, I am healing. And again, that keeps raising our vibration so that the door completely opens. And now we're into that new reality of who we are, which is the manifestation. But the manifestation takes these steps of doing our inner work, of our self-worth, of our soul wealth, of our intention and the vision, the direction that we want to go into. And then the alchemy, which is the healing of who we are in our inner child and everything that we took on from society and the dream state that we were in, awakening from that. And then we move into certainty. We feel so aligned with what we're doing. There's no other option. We're certain. We're leaning into that certainty. We're leaning into that expectancy, which creates flow. And then it just happens. Now we're seeing it because we're calling it in, because everything that we desire is already there. We just need to tune our frequency to that. The success, the health, the abundance, the prosperity is already around us, but we are in a different frequency. So as we tune in our frequency to it, we will align with it and find it and open the door to it and allow that to become our new reality.
Wow. I just I was just thinking, do you do many public engagements, or do you have you written any, are you an author? Have you written any of books about this?
Yeah, I've co-created, I co-authored a book. I do speaking engagements. I'm going to be at CLE this February. I've been at other events. The
Wonderful.
ufology World Conference last year. I was at the CLE last year. Conscious Life Expo, and
Where was that one? The one, the UFO?
in Mexico,
Okay. New
in Mexico
Mexico?
City, Mexico City, Mexico
Okay.
City.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Um, yes, and um, I do lots of interviews, and I also do workshops. I do group workshops and one-on-one sessions.
Okay. If people want to get in touch with you, um do you have, I mean, I will definitely put your, if you know, per your permission, your email or information that you want me to provide them to reach out and contact you, because it sounds like I think we just barely touched the edge, because I kind of wanted to also mention about, like, are you familiar with ley lines or anything like that?
Ley lines, I am familiar with them.
Yeah, because
The
you mentioned Saint Michael as one of your
Mhm.
guides, I believe.
Yes, actually, Michael has been with me for a very long time. He's my early work. He's been my mentor since I was young, four or
Wow.
5 years old. Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Gabriel, and then later other ascended masters like Metatron, Saint Germain, and of course the Arcturians and Pleiadians have
Yeah.
been part of my life. You mentioned training earlier. I do actually remember having training when I was very young as a child. And I also remember doing training as a young adult,
Mm.
going to a different dimension. And it was literally like a training. There was a training field, and it was sort of like a mock training. And we would, and this was all in the astral plane, other beings and other human beings would be there, and we'd have trainings where we'd work with weapons, almost like like military or martial arts. So part of that was using your intention, so it was using telepathy, using your imagination. So it's magic, right? And part of that was using your physical body, meaning like you'd have staffs or swords, or and others were the statements, words, like words that you said that would create an image or create a different experience. And one of the things that I learned was changing the dimension, changing, like splitting dimensions to isolate different things, especially if they were going to hurt somebody. So if
Mhm.
I saw entities around, I could split the dimension and then isolate them, and then send them back to where they needed to go. So just different work like this. It's been really interesting at training as a child and as an adolescent, and even now, I still continue to train. They bring me up into ship now. It's more with the galactic beings, the Arcturians. They bring me up to a ship, and I do training there, working
Mhm.
with other beings around the galaxies, and um, doing work at that level, but also at the Earth level.
Did you ever, or have you ever met, she's passed on, Celestine Starr? I
I
don't know if
haven't.
that name,
No, I
that name
don't.
rings a bell.
No.
Yeah, she wrote a book about the Galactic Council and whatnot.
Mm.
But I could see you, I could feel her connecting to you.
Mm.
So you might have a another feeling or sense of a being near you, because
Mm.
she, like yourself, has a wonderful heart. Um, and yeah, she was ready to go to the other side to answer all the questions that she already knew the answers to, but it's like clarification here. Now that I'm here in this new realm, and is it as good as I thought it'd be? And I'm sure she's saying, yes, of course it is. But uh,
Beautiful.
yeah, is there anything else you'd like to share that I haven't even come up with?
Well, so much. I think the main thing, if there's a message that I want to sort of leave with the audience, is that we are creators, that we are not victims to anything or anyone, and that we have the power to change our reality. We have the power to awaken every aspect of who I am, connect to all our higher wisdom, and embody it. We have the power to shift what we see in the world and be that compassion or that love or that kindness in the world, that we can elevate mass consciousness, that we can elevate the state of consciousness currently when we hold the space of love and light, universal love, that we are all powerful beings of light that are either awakening or now on the verge of awakening or already awake, and we're all moving to the next level of who we are. And we all have a mission, even if we don't realize what our mission is, or even if our mission seems like it's not as significant, it's significant. We're all essential. So just want to remind everybody that we all have the power to change whatever's around us into the highest good and to heal Mother Earth and to create peace and to live in the state of love and joy and abundance and prosperity. We can all live the life that we desire.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. I mean,
Thank
it
you.
just reminds me of I'm actually a vegan for that reason to be a steward of our Mother Earth because that's probably the big that's probably one of the biggest gifts that we have to be on this
Mm.
planet and to take care of it and take care of her, take care of all the beings that are out there. And yeah, yeah, you're definitely giving me an awakening, and
Oh, thank
I
you.
so appreciate that. And well, we I would love to have you on again.
It would be my pleasure.
Yeah, yeah, and we can get into some more. There's so much more to talk about, and I just really appreciate getting to know you, Maria Martinez. You are a special, you've got a gift and you're going after it and you're doing it and you're helping a lot of people.
You, I really appreciate it. And so you, thank you for allowing people like myself share a message on your show. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, yeah, having a voice is important and you've got a good one and I yeah, I'm going to be your cheerleader. You're going to keep succeeding and going on and doing what you're doing because I can tell you're determined and you're smart and you got all the right stuff. And sounds like you're a really good mom too.
Oh,
And
thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
They're teaching me.
Oh
They're
yeah,
teaching.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my daughter's now 20. She's gonna be 24 soon, and my son's like 36, 37. Yeah, they keep you keep learning from them. But
Yeah, yeah, all the time. I feel like I remember the first time when they were able to understand, I say, thank you for choosing me to be your mom.
uh,
There's certain ways that I'm going to be your mentor, but I know you're also here to teach me. And they have. They've taught me so much already. So
oh
yeah.
yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like it's a wonderful gift. I
Mhm.
mean, my daughter, I mean, when I look at her, she we adopted we adopted her. She was living in China
Mm,
and yeah,
beautiful.
she spent 4 years in the orphanage. She was tiny. She was about 20 pounds. And it's just yeah, it was an honor to watch her grow and become the young woman that she is today. Now she's um, what is she? Hydrogeologist.
Wow.
Yeah, find looking
Wow.
for
What a
water.
blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She went to USC, University of Southern California, and got a degree in geology. And
Wonderful.
yeah, and
When
I embarrass her because I'll say, well, I like rocks. We have a big gems show here in Tucson, so I'll say that and she'll go, "Oh, Mama, please."
what a beautiful blessing for both of you.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, well, let me end with this is God, aliens, and a cup of coffee. And I so appreciate having Maria Martinez on our show. And again, this is just the beginning. Thank you,
Thank you.
Maria.
Thank you. Thank you. And can I share where they can find me?
Yes.
You can find me on 360 Prosperity. That's my website.com. You can find me on YouTube, 360 Prosperity, Maria Martinez, Instagram at 360 Prosperity, TikTok as well, Maria Martinez, 360 Prosperity. And you can also find me at evolvelife.online.
That's wonderful. I'm gonna get on there and check it out too. Let me just I'm gonna pause this a second here.